everyone, I'm Mama J. Have you ever just wanted to make a blanket bigger or smaller than the written pattern calls for, but the pattern doesn't give you the multiples to change that starting chain? I know I'm not the first to make a video tutorial on this, but I would like to show you how I figure out the multiples and counts. I've made up a few samples here of the 3 patterns that I'm going to go over, and I hope it helps. Some patterns are super easy to figure out, but others do take a little finesse to get there. And sometimes the pattern is just so involved, I'm unable to figure it out, but I do keep working on it to continue learning. And once I've worked up the counts, I do like to make a small swatch like these just to make sure before chaining a full foundation chain. There is absolutely nothing worse than doing 80 plus chains and completing that first or second row just to realize that your multiple counts were off. All right, so let's get into it. So the first one I want to go over is the Tiny Bubbles Crochet Blanket. I did get this pattern off of the Yarnspirations website. I get a lot of the blanket patterns that I make from there. They've got some really good stuff and they are free to download. But this one, it's just a nice little semi-textured blanket. Unlike the bobble stitch, these puffs are really flat and this is a double-sided texture, not just one-sided. All right, so when you're calculating multiples, you're always interested in this repeat. So I've gone ahead and marked up here. And because our repeat starts with our first row, in counting multiples in the plus, we don't need to worry about rows 2 and 3. So with this one, we've got 1 single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So let's do, we're going to skip the first chain and then we're going to do a single crochet in that second chain from the hook. So now we're into our repeat. So we're going to forget about those 2 guys for a second. We're going to do 1 double crochet into the next chain, 1 single crochet into the next chain. So that's our entire repeat. So we've got a double crochet and a single crochet. We've got a double crochet and a single crochet. And you're going to work that same repeat all the way down your foundation chain. And if you look here, it says to the end of the chain and then turn. So we don't have anything extra that we're going to put at that end. All right, so 1 single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So there's the second chain. And there's 2 chains to count here. So our beginning, not part of our multiples, is 2. Now we get into the multiples. We've got the double crochet, the single crochet. So these also are 2. So this entire pattern is a multiple of 2. So let's get into our next sample. This one is the Bernat Bright Beginnings Crochet Blanket pattern. And this too, our repeat is in our first row. So we don't have to worry about our second row of the full pattern repeat. We're just looking for that row repeat. So we can work in our first row to count our multiples. All right, so the first thing we have 1 double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. And this tells you that the skipped 3 counts as a double crochet. So we've got, because that counts as a double crochet, we're going to line them up like this. So there's the 3 that we're skipping. And then our next is where we're going to do a double crochet. That's our first double crochet. And then it says again, 1 double crochet in the next chain. Now we're into our repeat. So just like the previous, we're going to forget about those guys for a minute. The chain 1 doesn't count because we're working into that foundation chain and we're counting how many of those chains we're actually using within this repeat of a row. So we're skipping the next chain, and that does count. So we're just going to skip that. 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 chains. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and those are all 3 double crochet. And that's our repeat. So we're going to skip, and we're going to do 3 double crochet. And let's do one more just so we get an idea of what the pattern is. Okay. And then again, this one says 2 end of chain and turn. So we don't have any guys that are hanging out in the back here that we need to worry about. So here are repeats: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now we're going to go back to these guys. We've got the double crochet in the 4th chain, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and another double crochet before our repeat starts. So that's 5. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this pattern is a multiple of 4 plus 5. All right, I hope that one makes sense as well. So the next one we're going to do is a little more difficult. So let's get into that one. All right, so this one is the basket weave. So let's look at the pattern. And because our first row does not have our row repeat, then we're going to skip that for now. So we're going to go straight into the row 2, and we're going to look at that the repeat. All right, so we have 1 double crochet back post around each of the next 5 stitches. So we're going to indent a little bit so we can back up and deal with our first row after we're done. So we've got 5 double crochet back post. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And moving on with the rest of our repeat, we've got 1 double crochet front post around each of the next 5. So we're going to do 5 more. And that's our repeat. So let's do 5 more back post. And then 5 more front post. Okay. All right, so let's continue reading. To the last stitch, 1 double crochet in the last stitch. So if you remember with the other 2, we didn't have any guys hanging out at the back end here, but this one we do. We're going to do 1 double crochet in that last stitch. Okay, so that is our row 2. Now let's go back to row 1. So we've got 1 double crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook. So one thing you have to remember with this one is this first back post is going to be in this double crochet. So we've got 3rd chain from the hook. So we have 2 that are hanging out here, and then we've got our first double crochet that we're going to use for that back post. 1 double crochet in each to the end of the chain. So all of this plus this, we have a double crochet. And then we're going to pick back up the back post, front post, back post, front post. All right, so let me just back up for a second and make sure this makes sense for you. We've got our repeat of 5 and 5, and then we've got a double crochet in that last. So we're going to move these guys up so we can count that multiple, okay? So here's 5 and 5, so there's our 10, 5 and 5, and there's 10. So this one is multiples of 10, and then our plus is going to be these two. We've got 2 here, and we have 1 here. So this pattern is a multiple of 10 plus 3. I hope you can actually get some use out of this, and that it has inspired you to maybe try a pattern that you didn't try before because you didn't know what the multiples were and you wanted to make it bigger or smaller. So let me know if you have any questions. Just drop a comment. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I hope you have a great day.